All right, I love doing this segment with all these young, funky kids. But today, we're talking about Roseanne Barr. She canceled a podcast appearance today, but there is talk she is trying to see her career come back. Now, even if that looks dicey to you, her show making a comeback is not. Already efforts afoot, we're told, to resurrect it because it's already been guaranteed for another season. There are all those writers and people behind that who could conceivably go on and do the show without her. Of course, it couldn't be called Roseanne, maybe not Roseanne. I have no idea, but I know these guys do. Campus Reform's Cabot Phillips. We got Fox Business Network's Kristina Partsinevelos, my audio wingman and tech giant Dion Baia, and last but certainly not least, Kat Timpf. Cabot, what do you think? Doable?
I don't think it's doable with Roseanne. I think obviously, Roseanne is going to have opportunities in the future, I would say. I think people have a short memory, and there's so many celebrities doing so many stupid things. I think a lot of Americans they forget who they're supposed to be outraged at. And there's clearly a big market for her down the road. I think weather the storm and whether it's a good idea for anyone to bring her back or not, I don't know if it's a good idea, but I think better odds.
I think your show has better odds.
Well, right? It's inexcusable what she said, but you look at Mel Gibson's kind of making a comeback already. He's been doing movies the past couple of years.
He's been funding those movies, though.
Yeah.
So there's a difference.
But they've done well.
They've done well, and he was nominated for an Oscar for Best Director in 2017. So I agree with that. And like you said, everybody forgets. Even Megan Fox called one of her directors Hitler, and then she was taken off of the Transformers movie and then brought back on for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So there are many examples.
But this
quality, I know it's a great example for today.
But this was already Roseanne's, I don't know, millionth chance.
That's the problem.
She said approximately 9,000 crazy things in the past already, maybe 9,004
more than Dion.
or so. Like she's, she's a 9/11 truther.
Yeah.
She said that the Boston Marathon bombing was an example of a false flag
she said
terror.
I think it's an uphill battle for her, but not as much for her show.
Well, it's a great show.
The Connor family.
Absolutely.
That's what it could be called.
Yeah, I'm surprised they acted so quickly in canceling the show, and instead, like with House of Cards, they kind of wrote out
They
Kevin
just canceled
Spacey.
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, so why not? Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard because it's called Roseanne, but if they did something to the Connor family,
that makes sense. That's why they canceled it, so that there's no negativity. Let's recall it something completely different. Yeah. Same family, and Roseanne maybe ran off, and
she got over in what is it in 1989, 1990 when she went out and did that stuff on the drunk doing the national anthem and spitting and all that, and she wasn't canceled then or anything.
She's
had 9 lives already, and then some.
I'll tell you. All right, I want to switch to a subject a lot of people can relate to. If you ever do these critical reviews online of anything on any particular site, but this was a doctor who's now suing a patient for $1 million because she gave a really bad review on Yelp. So I guess you got to be careful what you write. What do you think?
Yeah, but who leaves the reviews on Yelp anyways? You do? Really? I never do. I feel like a lot of the people who routinely leave reviews on Yelp are ridiculous and very, very picky. They'll be like, the service was great.
The
atmosphere was great. The food was great, but the free bread was stale, 1 star.
I've done TripAdvisor.
This is a doctor,
stuff like that.
This is a doctor who doesn't like the way it was characterized.
I'm reading it.
You're complaining about maybe the people that are writing it, but I read it too. I'm just too lazy to write anything.
I've got too much other things going on.
Study came out, 49% of people said they won't go to a business if they read the reviews and it's below 4 stars. So I think the doctor in this case has a right to want to maintain what's being said on the reviews, especially if it was not factual. If it was not factual.
Yeah, but how does this to me, it seems like this kills this entire industry of Yelp and TripAdvisor and the other health grades, because aren't people going to be afraid to leave honest? It's one thing, yes, if people leave negative, completely egregious things. But if someone leaves something that's truthful, I didn't have a good time, Neil, I went to see you, whatever, and then all of a sudden your retort is or recourse is to just sue me, and she's, what is it, for like $1 million?
Yeah, that seems, $1 million seems like quite a bit.
It's PR. We're talking about him right now. This doctor, his face is in all of these advertisements. He's getting free airtime to the millions of viewers that are watching.
Yeah, people want to go to him, though.
But maybe.
I think that people have to be thinking, my gosh, I better be careful what I say because I want to write something critical.
This has been going on for some time, though. He's not the first person to sue somebody that's written a negative review. It's just, there was a chimney company in 2016 that went after a woman.
The famous chimney company.
It's an example. There's examples. Just not as good as this one that's worth $1 million.
Okay.
I don't know how women will be, how do you trust going back to this guy, because if you say something, he's an OBGYN.
Yes.
You just go back and he's worried to say anything.
Stop, we're not going to go there. All right, our files are, President Trump has been making a lot of controversial pardons lately between Blagojevich, Martha Stewart, and on and on. What do you make of it? Does it take note?
I don't have a problem with any of these pardons necessarily, but I think if he's going to be pardoning people, he needs to pardon Matthew Charles. I don't know if all of you have heard this story, but this guy that was out for 2 years, he had a steady job, steady girlfriend, volunteering at a food pantry every Saturday, and it turns out he was released in error, so they're sending him back for another decade.
I think they already sent him back.
Yeah, they sent him back for another decade.
And they
I
have
think
petitioned him to do that.
Really awful, and I think that if he's going to be pardoning all these people, that there's
We
no
should
one who
say
deserves
in
it more.
Blagojevich's case, you don't pardon as much as you would commute the sentence. He's
Right.
serving the 6th year of a 14-year
I think the
sentence.
White House also needs to be aware of the optics of it. Right now, it looks to many people like Trump is just pardoning people that were on The Apprentice or people that are political,
Connection,
supporting
call
him,
me.
political
There
connections.
is
I
a
think
connection there.
it's always a good thing if justice is being served and the president's using their power in a smart way.
It's
The
an
Jack Johnson
amazing
thing.
power, though.
Well, look
That's
what
one of the-
in 2016 or 2017, right before Obama left, he pardoned Oscar Lopez Rivera, the FALN terrorist who, was a convicted domestic terrorist who blew up.
Do we know
Frank's
whether
Tavern.
this president's had more than other
More pardons?
No, at this stage of their presidency.
I'm not sure. It feels like it because everybody's talking about
Yeah.
it. But this could be two things. One, him showing that he has the ability to be above the law, and then secondly, if I were Martha Stewart, I'm getting a comeback, doing things with Snoop Dogg. I don't necessarily want to remind everybody that I lied in an insider trading case.
What's the point
she's
now?
already done her time.
Yeah, it was 5 months.
I mean, she
And
can't.
is that expunged from her record? Everyone knows she went to prison.
Everybody, and that poncho
she's
she
allowed to-
wore, it
she's allowed
sold
to
really
vote on
well.
it.
It did, really?
Yeah. Oh, it was a knitted poncho.
You have a lot of little details on it.
I don't know. It seems very hypocritical that people are calling him out on these things, but then, like with, say, Obama doing the FLN
Presidents can do it to anyone ever.
Yeah, yeah.
It is a wild power. All right, guys, I want to thank you all very, very much. In the meantime, we're going to explore a little bit more detail how the president came from walking away from talks to now getting them back on. Now, some call that obstinate and stubborn. Others are saying it just could be genius. After this.